Welcome to Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, the big butch manly pop culture podcast that's game for anything. I'm Shane Holland.
I'm Andrew Wheeler.
Today we are talking about 7 First Light, the action-adventure video game from 2026, developed and published by IO Interactive, based on the James Bond franchise. IO Interactive, of course, being behind the mega hits Hitman series. This game depicts James Bond's origin story as he embarks on the mission he must complete to earn his license to kill. First Light tells an original narrative inspired by Ian Fleming's novels and short stories. Bond, a Navy aircrewman, is recruited into MI6's 00 program and must track down a rogue 00 agent to uncover a conspiracy that could destroy the agency. The game features Priyanka Burford as M, Alistair Mackenzie as Q, Keira Lester as Moneypenny, and Patrick Gibson as a 26-year-old James Bond. The cast also includes Lenny James, Naomi Nakai, Gemma Chan, Lenny Kravitz, and Bart Edwards. Andrew, I have only played through the prologue of this game, sadly, because I don't have time. I don't have time. I would love nothing more than to have a week off to finish this game in its entirety, but you have been so generous to allow me to come over to your place and play through this game for your second watch through of it.
Yeah, essentially.
And I have loved it. This is exactly my kind of game. It is the kind of thing that just tickles my fancy. Playing as James Bond, shooting guns, driving cars badly, spycraft, gadgets. It's so exciting. I am very excited to talk more about it with you and have you hype me up for my inevitable playthrough. Tell me what your relationship has been with it so far.
Yeah, so as we have discussed before, I am not someone that has played Bond video games before. I never had GoldenEye. I didn't play it. I haven't played any of the other. Like, there have been a bunch of Bond first-person shooters, I believe, and I've played none of them. Was it GoldenEye that we played a remastered version of?
Boy, it wasn't remastered. It was just a direct port to the Switch,
Okay.
And
Good, because that was shoddy.
That was difficult. That was a difficult day in my life. Now, there is a GoldenEye remaster, which features Daniel Craig as James Bond, and that is much more playable by today's standards, but I think was never thought of as a good remake of a classic game. I, on the other hand, have played many, many James Bond games. The ones that came out on PlayStation between like 2002 and 2005 were some really excellent video games, although I'm sure they're incredibly dated by today's standards. And there is one on PS2 called From Russia with Love that features the likeness and voice of Sean Connery, which, to my memory, was stellar and one of the most fun gaming experiences I had had up to that point. But this takes Bond games to the next level.
That was my sense, and it's definitely more in line. Like, I'm an Assassin's Creed person. That's my jump around adventure game. I've played a little bit of Uncharted, so this fits very comfortably in that milieu, and has me thinking honestly that I should check out the Hitman games.
Yeah.
Because I've only watched the terrible Timothy Oliphant movie.
Oh,
I mean, he's cute. That's about
not
as far
terrible
as I'll go
Timothy Oliphant.
Terrible
not
games
a terrible featuring
a lovely Timothy Oliphant in a terrible Hitman movie.
Yes.
It's a very slick game. It's very well balanced, and it's really entertaining. And as a Bond fan, I find there's just enough like little nods and things that make you go, "Oh, I get that." To, keep you satisfied, to make you feel like you're in the in-group. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I've played almost all of the story, and so I'll be talking about the story primarily because, I'm approaching this game as a Bond movie almost. Like, how does it fare? How does it hold up compared to the tropes and the expectations of a Bond movie? I haven't played the tactical simulation side of the game.
Love the name TAC Sim. That sounds like something that someone on the spectrum might have to do to get themselves pumped up for a tactical situation.
I've got to do my tax sims.
Ooh, my
Um,
taxons.
I mean, I did honestly, for a lot of the playthrough of the game, I was thinking, why does Gemma Chan have like one line of dialogue? Like, I love Gemma Chan. Why do we meet her and then she never appears again? And then I'm like, oh, there's a whole other bit of the game,
Yeah.
and she's the point of contact for that bit of the game. That makes a lot more sense now.
Optional content, Gemma Chan.
Yes, I feel like Gemma Chan should be mandatory always.
Agreed.
So yeah, and judged as a movie, it does tick the boxes. Like it's got a pre-title sequence, it's got a
Mhm.
Bond song. We'll get into that.
Mhm.
Exotic locales, hench people. Like it's actually got more of the boxes ticked than Casino Royale because it's
Alright.
more. Not saying it's better than Casino Royale. I'm saying
Okay.
Casino Royale didn't give you a Q or a money penny or a hench person worth their salt. So, this is actually playing more with the tropes of Bond specifically.
A lot of
And
shade
I
to
think that's the right.
Demetrios. Wow.
Screw that guy. And I think that's great. Like, I think it makes sense to launch this, what I hope will be a new Bond franchise with a new Bond and make it feel like, oh, all of this is legit in a sort of auxiliary way to the movie franchise. And given that might never see another Bond movie,
Oh god, don't say
um,
that.
given that, Jacob Elordi in Death Becomes Him or whatever they're going to call it, um,
Honestly, make a remake of Death Becomes Her featuring Jacob Elordi. Wow.
would be pretty great. Get Isabella Rossellini back again.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is as close as we get to a Bond movie for at least the next 2-3 years. Boy, boy.
And by that point, I mean, Patrick Gibson will be old enough to play just regular Bond.
It's a possibility. I remember we talked about Patrick Gibson being this Bond, and you were so negative about it. And I don't know, in my head, I'm thinking, like, did you think it was Patrick Wilson?
No, 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 no. Why was I so vehemently against this?
Was it Dexter? The Dexter First Blood or whatever it's called? Because he was playing young Dexter.
That
He was
could
in
be
Shadow
it.
and Bone. He was in the
Look, now that I've seen his performance in this piece, I have been converted. I
Okay,
think
good.
okay, and with that, I mean, I'm gonna save some thoughts for one of our later segments, but let's
Yeah, yeah,
pivot
yeah.
and talk about the women. I will start off by saying I love that M is a woman of color, and even in that first 2 hours of gameplay, it hints at the challenges of perception that she faces being both a powerful figure and a
Yeah.
minority. I thought that was unexpected and could be something that the franchise takes on in the movie universe.
Yeah. And we also have Moneypenny, who is a woman of color,
Mm-hmm.
consistent with the most recent movie Moneypenny, but also clearly not that Eve Moneypenny. I don't think she's ever given a first name in the video game. So it's
Right.
clearly this is a separate iteration of Moneypenny, but one that has some cosmetic resemblance to the most recent movie version. So yeah, we have two women of power in senior roles. One of them is the boss, the other is the operational control, which is a great new role to give Moneypenny. Like that's
Yes.
she's not a secretary. She's not. Luelia Ponsonby from the novels, in fact, is M's secretary in this game. And you could see a world in which Moneypenny got moved into maybe that sort of a role, but like when she was in her 60s,
Yeah. Yeah.
doesn't seem like Moneypenny is going to be given a secretarial role when she is so authoritative and in control
Competent.
in this game.
Yeah.
Competent, terrible waste of her skills. So yeah, that's instantly two big ticks for this game, that it does have women in power and it does have diverse women, and they're not all fawning over James. Moneypenny is this Moneypenny does not seem to have a thing for Bond yet. But there are also other women rounding out the cast in some pretty vital roles. And the biggest, this is a spoiler, I guess, but the biggest thing that I realized when we talk about Bond movies, we talk about the Vesper list. We talk about women who die in service to James Bond's story. Vesper coining the term from Casino Royale. This game doesn't add anyone to the Vesper list, and that is a bit of a spoiler. Cressida gets out of things with an injury. That's my spoiler. There are other Bond women in this. Teresa Lorca, a scientist. Isola Vale, who is she appears as if she might be a spy, but she's something else. And she is the recurring Bond girl through the whole story. Orly Gray, not really a femme fatale character, but she's got some complicated stuff going on. So Isola Vale is the big character, and that's a pretty good Bond girl name. It doesn't have a pun in it, but it sounds unique.
Now,
Cressida
if it were
Bright,
Areola
similarly.
Vale, that would be...
Yeah, Areola Vale would be great, obviously. Areola Love.
Loves her Taksim.
She does. So yeah, we've got a great sort of Morley Grey Bond woman in Isola Vale. We've got a sort of secondary Bond woman in Teresa Lorca. Cressida Bright isn't even a Bond woman in the sense of she is not emotionally involved with Bond. She has a different man in her life.
She's a roommate.
She's a roommate. Yes, you don't sleep with a roommate. An unnamed receptionist who does sleep with Bond. So you've got your 3-ish Bond girl sort of model, but none of them is strictly bad. Isola is just complicated. And none of them die so far. I do still have like 1.5 scenes left to go in the game. So I guess they could all be dropped off a cliff. But
anyways, look forward to our update next week.
Yeah, which is not to say that characters don't die in service to Bond's story. It's just they're not women.
I called it like from the moment we started playing that I thought I knew who the doomed love interest might be, and you refrained from saying anything, and I think I might be right. We'll get there. That note, I think we should talk about the boys.
Yeah.
Starting with the main boy, right?
The main boy, Patrick Gibson, when he was announced as playing the Bond of this game, it kind of already people had figured it out because the character looks like Patrick Gibson. Patrick Gibson has a very signature smirk, crooked, one-sided smirk that is very sexy.
And not overused at all.
Yeah, people worked out it was Patrick Gibson, and then he was announced, and of course he was announced as the new James Bond in a sort of clickbait headline way. But I'm happy to say, I'll give him the credit. He is a James Bond. Like, he joins the annals of people who have played James Bond.
And played him well, I must say. Yeah. Again, from my limited experience, I really enjoyed his performance. It did lean a little sneering, but you're
smirky.
right in that it's very charming.
Yeah.
And the likeness of Patrick Gibson, I really did not think I was going to gel with. And now I feel like one of those people who was like a blonde Bond when Daniel Craig was announced. I was really proven wrong. And I'm okay to admit that.
I think Patrick Gibson even is a blonde normally, so...
Yes, he is.
There you go.
And,
And another Irish Bond. He joins the ranks of Irishmen playing Bond. Well, ranks. There's been one.
Yeah. Okay, on that note, this game did give me Pierce Brosnan vibes, like, very strongly. And you're saying you enjoyed it, so... I think Brosnan's Bond is having a renaissance these days. There's a lot of love for those films out there. Maybe that's because everyone who's writing about James Bond grew up in the 90s like I did.
Grew up.
Stayed young.
Grow up. I will concede there is some Brosnan in there, but there's also some Craig, there's some Connery.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even a little bit of Dalton. I don't think there's any more. In there, but yeah, like there is a bit of grimacing going on, and that of course is the quintessential Pierce Brosnan contribution to the canon.
Okay, yeah.
But I would not say that it is exclusively a Brosnan tribute act. Thank God. He's the first Bond to wear the scar, which is great.
Yeah,
it looks great on him, and you earn the scar in the course of the pre-title sequence.
Yes, I absolutely loved that. And again, I hope that's something that they carry through to the films, because in some strange way, in the novels, people with disfigurements with disabilities are
Yeah,
often like demonized, but we always forget that Bond also has like a very prominent feature on him.
yeah,
And I think that helps show that he is like one step away from being these people that he is chasing, that he is hunting.
right.
And I just love that we are bringing that to light.
So we do not wish to perpetrate or could perpetuate the idea that scars equal evil
Correct.
or narcissistic, even.
Or anything really other than what they are, scars.
Yeah, scars represent that you have lived,
Yeah.
you survived something. Yeah, and also the scar is sexy,
Uh,
doesn't hurt that he's not actually scarred by his scar, he's actually made hotter. And yes, Patrick Gibson in this role is sexy. It is only a computer character. There's that uncanny valley edge to it where like I know some people think this is ridiculous. I can find a cartoon character sexy because there's a level of abstraction, depending on the cartoon character.
right.
But once you get too close to real, then it becomes a little harder to actually think, "Oh, this is a sexy boy."
Yeah, it's the eyes,
Waka in
right?
Final Fantasy managed to bridge that gap for me, but a lot of other characters, I don't know. But this is a great execution, and it is because of the performance, because of the smirk, the simmer, the swagger, and the style. And we will get into style as well. I think he's a very hot Bond, and he's 26 years old, so
That helps.
invite all the old perverts over to leer at this James Bond.
Why did you look at me when you said that? There are other boys in this game. I mean, and by boys, I mean some of them are actual men. Lenny Kravitz
Yes.
is in this game. I did not get to that part in the game, but I'm
No.
very excited to.
Yeah, he plays Bavma, who is presented as a sort of halfway villain, like both in terms of his morality and in terms of his placement in the story. He is not the big bad that you might have expected him to
Huh.
be, but he's a very glamorous, it's just Lenny Kravitz. Like, it's absolutely
How
Lenny
can you
Kravitz
be
playing
anything
Lenny
other than?
Kravitz.
Yeah.
But then Lenny James in this game is playing Lenny James. Like, the fact that the actors have been recreated pretty faithfully across almost every role. The actor looks like the character to an extent that I don't think I've seen before, where they are casting it like a movie. They are casting people for likeness. They're not just doing mocap, they're doing like face cap. And it works really well. And it means that throughout this game, I'm looking at Lenny James and Lenny Kravitz, the two Lennys, and
Where's Lenny
thinking,
Henry?
this is
Come on.
where is
Make it
Lenny
all
Henry?
three.
And it's like, oh, that's just the actor. That's kind of crazy. Which of course is not a thought I have when I'm watching a movie, but
Right.
when I'm watching a video game, it's like, huh, that's just Lenny James. They've just ported Lenny James into a game.
Yeah.
Lenny James is great in this as Greenway, the asshole
Boss.
guy that sort of he's training you, and he's also trying to get you to drop out of the 00 program. And it's a good, fractious mentor-mentee relationship. A lot of fun to be had there.
Is that the kind of
We haven't,
boss that I am? God.
yeah, transformative through assholery. There is an elder Q, not quite as old as some Q has been, but he is a white-haired gentleman with a dapper Errol Flynn moustache. Yeah, he's a lot of fun. He might be a little light in his loafers.
It's a little fruity. I got just a slight introduction.
Yeah, we don't get anything established through dialogue, sadly, to that effect. Monroe, well worth mentioning Monroe. Monroe is
My husband.
the incidental heartthrob of this game. He is the fellow trainee with Bond in the 00 program.
He's played by Chris O'Reilly, who is mainly voice actor and a video game actor, and his likeness has been used in other mega franchises like Resident Evil 2 Requiem. He is he's in a ton of video games, and his likeness has been used before, but I liked this likeness. However, when I saw his picture and realized that he was made into a blonde and they didn't keep his gorgeous ginger hair, I was furious. Furious.
Yeah, that was very disappointing because he is a very hot redhead, very dark red hair, which we love to see.
Made me wonder, is it difficult to make that rich a color realistic in a video game? Because when I think back, I'm like, you don't often see like a really rich redhead in video games. Although maybe Expedition 33 would be an example where there is a great ginger character. Anyways, my point is,
Oh,
well, yeah. Chris O'Reilly should have been playing Chris O'Reilly as much as Patrick Gibson was playing Patrick Gibson.
fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, Monroe's a great character. He's the sort of working class wannabe agent who is Mox Bond for his slightly higher status. But then there's Cressida, who's higher status still. And that's your little trifecta for basically the entire training section of the game. Like, this is not a game with a short tutorial section. The tutorial is
The game.
built into the game in some really interesting ways and lasts for a very long time. You're maybe 2/3 of the way through the tutorial so far, Shane.
My God.
There's a
When
whole
we did the
mission.
driving simulation, I was embarrassed.
You shouldn't be. I can't drive, so
But I thought I was going to
no
do a
shame there.
little better in non-reality than in reality. Suffice it to say, I can't drive in.
The other men I want to call out. Well, we don't. You haven't got to the Webbs, Damien and Nicholas Webb, but they're not particularly appealing, has to be said. But the Murto twins, they're our proper
Hench?
evil sidekicks, henchies.
Ooh,
Yeah, these
twins.
sort of twins. I think albino twins, certainly very pale and like white haired, but also quite gorgeous. So I didn't mind the Murto twins at all. I don't know that they have voice actors because they don't speak very much or at all, maybe.
I'm looking up a
But I
picture
should
now.
find
Oh,
out who they're based on.
yeah, I'm into it. Okay, this is like a staple in a Bond film. These Teutonic blondes who don't say
Yes.
anything. Very apostis, necros.
Yeah. I mean, they're called
Red
Murto.
Brand.
It's very
Yeah.
necros.
I'm into it.
Yeah, no, they're hot. They have great cheekbones. I should probably find out who they're modeled on so I can start following his Instagram or their Instagram.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Imagine if they got actual twins to play these silent roles.
That would be so redundant. Ansi Lindstrom. Oh, yeah, no, he's gorgeous too. A little creepy in a good way.
This podcast has just
ANSSI.
become us Googling things as we talk about them. Oh my God.
If we had a producer. Yeah, he's a cutie.
Wow, he's a cutie. I mean, dangerous. Dead eyes, but
Well cast.
well cast.
So yeah, they're quite tough to beat, and so that's fun to have in the game. And yeah, I love that they really do tick the box for a hench person of being exotic and interesting without being, thank God, in any way offensive. Well, maybe to people with albinism, they're offensive. I'm not sure that they do have albinism or if that's just a cute aesthetic to make them look as sort of ghostly and Nordic as possible.
All right, let's talk about the music. Now, I am almost certain that in our old format, we touted Lana Del Rey as a potential Bond themstress.
Yes.
And here she is. She has arrived with the caveat that she does not get to perform a Bond movie song. She only gets to perform a Bond game song. But this song is fantastic. I think it fits squarely in the canon. It is very evocative of the Daniel Craig era songs, much more like croony than upbeat, but it is done so well, and she has the perfect voice for this kind of song, unlike dare I say, a Sam Smith.
Right. Yes, I have not skipped the song. When I played through that section, we got through the song and then the game bugged out in some way, so I had to go back to the beginning of the song. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to listen to the song again. I enjoy it. It's bombastic and swoony. It's a bit like lyrically, it's a bit on the nose, and it's like it ends with like, do you want to play a game or something equally
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
obvious. But Bond songs are not known for their subtlety. And yeah, I think in the same way that I see Patrick Gibson, to my mind is a legitimate Bond, I see Lana Del Rey as having done a legitimate Bond song. We just have
Agreed.
to start like this is the first Bond video game of a new era of Bond video games that I think are going to feel like movies based on the success of this game. I assume there will be more. And that's great to actually have this new avenue of Bond. Like the games will be separate from the movies in the same way the books are separate from the movies. But the fact that they're giving us some great movie quality stuff, like the performances, like the music, I think is really legitimizing and really fun for Bond fans.
I also love the visual, like the title sequence visuals.
Mm.
They are a little video gamey, but honestly, they are better than some official title sequences. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're not. I will say there's nothing new to the song First Light or the opening graphics. Like it's very much classic. Like it's derivative, I suppose, is the mean way to say it. They're not trying to reinvent anything, but that makes sense. They're trying to establish themselves in the canon. So, maybe we'll see something more bold. Maybe we'll see a Scar Bond song on the next video game.
wow, like Goldfinger and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, that would be great.
Yeah.
That's
Or
a
like
reference,
Live and Let Die,
yeah.
which was
Yeah.
which was
Uh,
basically a ska song. So English musical duo The Flight composed the score of this game. It's a very good propulsive score. It swirls in the right places. It drives in the right places. It's a great blend of orchestral and electronic music. But one of the really nice touches, and this was something that I think it was the audio designer of the game. I don't know what people do in video games. He said, "We wanted you to have to earn the Bond themes, and that is absolutely what happens. This is a new James Bond, so you don't get until like a certain point in the movie. Sadly, not skiing. There's no skiing in this game. That's the one thing that they forgot to do. There also isn't a fight on a train, actually. So those two things will carry over for the next game.
I was going to say, they have to have something for the second game.
Yeah, exactly. Very fair. So yeah, the fact that Bond themes do crop up, and when they do, you're like, oh, it's a Bond theme. Great, really great, really enjoyable. I earned
Awesome.
a Bond theme.
God, I wish diegetically you could earn a Bond theme, like in this life. Like
Like,
I have this TikTok video that's been seen nearly 1 million times where I catch multiple bottles as they're falling in midair, and that was an earned Bond theme right there.
yeah, you should have got at least an orchestral Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Honestly. Ba-da-da-da. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the music?
No.
Then let's talk about the fashion. Now, I am wearing the only fashion I can associate with the prologue, which is a tactical turtleneck facsimile.
Yes. I've gone
You
for
seem
something
to
a
be
little.
dressed like a commander in the Navy.
Yeah, that's the vibe I've gone for. It's the wrong color, but you unlock different colorways sometimes. This felt like a classic sort of young Bond or uh, Bond when he's still military rather than intelligence
Hmm.
kind of vibe. So that's what I've gone for.
Very
A bit of a
SAS.
throwback.
Yeah.
But yeah, fashion in a video game. What's your expectation there? Like nil? Like either it's going to be Final Fantasy Bayonetta, like swirly, crazy madness, or it's going to be kind of a bit Resident Evil, like tactical wear.
So, as a lifelong Final Fantasy fan, my expectations for fashion in video games are up here. Like, I know that it can be done. Some of the best fashion that this world has ever seen has come out of video games. I'm looking at you, Lulu, from Final Fantasy X. I'm looking at you, Lightning, in Final Fantasy 13. I am looking at you, Tifa, in Final Fantasy 7. I think that fashion can be done very well, but I am often let down by these kinds of
Yeah.
games. So I, I am hoping that because this is a James Bond game, that because glamour and fashion are part of the ethos of this series, that there will be something in here that will make me go, wow. Now that is what I expected to see.
I think you'll be happy. One of the great smart things they did in terms of their like brand partnerships, they partnered with All Bar Brown, which is a very high-end men's apparel brand. So there is a paisley shirt that you're wearing in the Africa section, the Bavma section of the game. Yeah, a beautiful paisley shirt that you can in fact buy from the All Bar Brown website. Later in the game, Bond is wearing All Bar Brown swim shorts. They are very cute, very sexy, stylish white shorts with a stripe down the side, 5-inch inseam. Thank God, hallelujah.
Oh, thank
Um,
God. Thank God. Honestly. No more of these
and
boxer brief cuts.
yeah, done with that. And paired with a pink toweling shirt. And we know toweling is in itself a Bond reference going back to Goldfinger. So you can buy both the shorts and the toweling shirt from the All Bar Brown website. And yeah, Bond looks great in these outfits. And yes, I went to look and see how much they are. And no, I cannot afford any of these pieces. So that's that. He wears an Omega Seamaster 300M watch. For those
Which is
who
a
are not
very nice
sure what
watch.
all those words mean, very nice
Now,
watch.
I did get to that section where you get to choose your watch, and I spent an
Yes.
inordinate amount of time deciding which color watch to get.
Uh-huh.
And we were with friends, and we were looking at them, and everyone's like, what's the difference? Like, why is this a charcoal gray, and why is this one a navy steel? And I'm like, look at the armbands, you fools. It's all right there for you. Don't you know?
The straps are not hugely visible in the scene where you're looking at the choosing between the watches. It's
The
like,
words do come
if
up
they had
right over the strap. That
Yeah.
might be a design flaw.
If they had tilted the watches up slightly so you could see more of the watch strap, that would be a good thing, a good guiding principle. It makes no difference what watch strap you choose. Like, I don't think it unlocks anything. But
Maybe
hey,
if you play the game 7 times and use a different watch strap each time, you'll get a PlayStation trophy.
maybe
I am
Omega
looking at the
Seamaster just
Orlebar Brown 7 collection, and
Mhm.
oh my god, these prices. Good go. $500? 500 pounds for a
Yeah.
polo. I
Yeah.
spent like $60 on a polo recently, and I said, this is too much.
All Bar Brown, it should be noted, had Jonathan Bailey as their spokesmodel for a recent collection. Is that a hint? Jonathan Bailey was recently the Martini man, the brand ambassador for Martini. Is that a hint? What is happening? I'm
Come
here
on,
for
Omega. Where's Aston Martin?
it. Where is Aston Martin? The answer is Aston Martin is in the game. There is a car called the Aston Martin Valhalla that you get to have some fun with.
Destroy. Yeah.
Yeah, destroy. There is also an Aston Martin DB5 that Cressida drives and that you get to drive early in the game. So Aston Martin's another great brand partnership that has. I like when it's Aston Martin and not one of these Johnny-come-lately brands, you know?
Yeah. No, none of this Land Rover bullshit. I don't need. I mean,
Yeah,
I do love the Jaguar in Die Another
sure.
Day.
I'm not saying
But
no to a Jaguar.
I mean, no. There is one parked in my building's garage, and it is the same color as the Die Another Day Jaguar, and I just want to steal that thing. I was very excited to see the Aston Martin, and I'm very excited to know that there are 2 versions of the Aston Martin.
Yeah. You get to drive some other wild vehicles, one in a building site that is the largest vehicle I think that James Bond has ever had to pilot. I think that includes submarines.
Oh my God.
Huge.
A space station.
That's right. There are a lot of tuxedos that can be unlocked by various achievements. You do get to wear a white tux for one sequence of the game. Perfect. And of course, he doesn't know how to tie a bow tie, so he has to learn from Q how
Oh,
to
tell me
tie a bow tie.
that is like a mini game where you're like desperately trying to fold your hands over each other. I mean, that's like a
do
mini
have to
game
hit-
in real life. If you've ever tied a bow tie,
Yeah.
it's like, I fucked it up again. What am
It's
I
one of
doing
those
wrong?
flashing square button, flashing circle button thing.
Yes.
It's
Tapping
I wouldn't call it a
furiously.
complicated game. There's a very nice bomber jacket that he gets to wear, tactical vest, of course, or tactical jacket. The villain, or one of the villains, has this beautiful gold mask that's a bit like Lucifer Safin with his Japanese no theater mask. It's like, it feels like we've been here recently, but it is a great, like, affectation for that villain that makes him visually distinctive.
Okay.
And yeah, there are women in gorgeous gowns, beautiful gowns. I don't know if any of those gowns are based on real outfits, and also I wasn't looking that closely at the women, but hey, they get to be beautiful too. It's not just the men.
Based on everything I'm heard, I'm sure that the women's outfits are also high-end, luxury,
Probably,
viable fashion.
yeah. Certainly nothing. There was nothing that made me go, "What the hell is she wearing?" So that's a good sign.
Okay, so it's not a Roger Moore film. Great.
No.
Well, I think it's time to talk about the queerness. And this is where I can't be disappointed because I don't expect it. I don't expect there to be any queerness. I will say I felt like in the prologue I was swept up in a love triangle with my boyfriend and his girlfriend. That's pretty
Right.
queer.
Yes, your fellow trainees, Cressida and Monroe.
Monroe.
They form a very close trio. And yes, if you're gay and playing the game, are checking out Monroe's knees rather than Cressida's, whatever it is women have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there is, I would say the dialogue between them is flirty. Flirty in the way that boys are flirty.
Flirty in the way
Straight
that your
boys.
school bully is flirty. Like, I'm
Yes.
gonna push
That
you
kind
through
of a
this
vibe.
wall, and I'm gonna like it.
Yeah, yeah. Problematically flirty. But yeah, so you could read into, and maybe there was some element of design to it. You could read something into the Bond Monroe relationship. Q, as we've mentioned, may or may not be gay. It's really not established, but he comes across a little fruity.
Hmm.
This M could plausibly be gay. Again, nothing is said, but you put a hyper competent woman of color in charge of an intelligence agency, and you think, well, there's a good
Let's
chance she's a lesbian.
let's throw one more thing into the mix on this character.
She's very good at her job, so she's
It's like
probably a lesbian.
it's like the Lil Nas X video that just came out at time of recording, where he's like, "I'm already black and gay. Do I have to have bipolar disorder as well?"
Oh dear. But yeah, beyond that, like there are no queer supporting characters. We don't even get a queer villain. Like I don't know if I missed
Not even Lenny
anything. Like it's
Kravitz.
entirely. Well, no, Lenny Kravitz. I mean, it's very his area of control doesn't feel like a place where you would be safe being a queer person. Let's say
Okay,
that.
okay.
So, as flamboyant as he is, he's still Lenny Kravitz. Yeah, I wish I could say that there was a queer supporting character in there, someone who was like very definitively ID'd in that way, or that there was some really rich subtext, but it's just not there.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's in some ways disappointing, but also it's so expected from a
Yeah.
video game made by the makers of Hitman.
Mhm.
But I'm also going to hold out some hope that if and when they make a second IO interactive James Bond game, that there could still be room for us. That there is some
Yeah.
character out there. What's the character's name from On Her Majesty's Secret Service? Basil
Exposition. Sable Basilisk?
Sable Basilisk. Like, give me a Sable Basilisk. Just
Right.
someone in the background who's like, oh, Mr. Bond.
Well, I will say, like in Counterpoint, the heterosexuality is not forced down your throat to a gratuitous degree. So
Mm.
I was grateful for that. Like he does, as I mentioned, there are multiple women he does that he sleeps with. Three. Three's a multiple. But we don't have to spend too much time watching him get it on, which I was grateful for. And he's not, he's flirty with a lot of women that he meets, but it's not in a way that's like exhausting, or disrespectful. And that felt
Mm.
very deliberate to me.
Also, not very Roger Moore. That's
Yeah.
really great, and I love talking about forced heterosexuality and really turning
Honestly.
it on its head, something that we've been labeled as forcing down people's throats. Well, guess what you're
Yeah.
forcing down mine? Your lifestyle, your choices.
I don't mind if you're straight, just not in front of children.
Right? Please. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to mention from the video game before we wrap this up?
I think I'm good.
All right. So, because I haven't played the game, but you have, you are going to score this, I was about to say film, this game for us. As you know, here at Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, we award the piece of work a base score of 5, and then we can give it 5 points for women, boys, music, fashion, and queerness to give it a gay score out of 5. Combined, that gives us our KKBB score, and we reserve the right to award a penalty of -1 point if there is something in there that's truly outrageous by today's standards. But let's start with your
Yes.
base score, Andrew. Out of 5, what would you give 007 First Light?
I think it's a 4 out of 5. A high 4 out of 5. Like I'm really enjoying it. It feels, I don't know, a little short to me. I haven't played a lot of video games of this style, so maybe it's just a normal length. But like the last video game I played was Baldur's Gate 3 for the Baldur's Gate 3 cookbook that is coming out in stores in November, written by me. That took weeks and weeks to play through that game.
That is a
And this,
200 plus hour game. This sounds like it
yeah,
might be under 40.
yeah, I would say that's about right. But then again, as I said, I haven't played the Taxim, so maybe that adds hours of value. But also, I feel like I don't. One of the things I struggled with a little bit was like the spatial awareness in the game, like looking around stuff. It felt a bit like my head was locked a bit too much, and that the beautiful locations weren't actually inhabitable as much as I would
Mm.
like. So I would say there's some small rooms for improvement, and I think we could still have like the Goldfinger of Bond video games, but this is a very respectable. What's a second tier?
Thunderball?
A respectable Thunderball. Yeah.
All right. Now, will you be awarding the women a point?
I feel sort of similarly there, actually. Like the women that are in it are great, but it's not about them so much. And yeah, I did feel like there could be maybe, I don't know, could there be a couple more women? There could be a more villainous woman in there. That I felt a sort of slight lack of. A
Mhm.
female hench would have been cute. This is really quibbling. Like actually, not just the fact that there are multiple strong women and women of color, but also the fact that the women are not being horribly objectified, that women are not being killed off to serve the story. It has to get the point in the
Yeah,
end.
I'm in any other media, we would be saying,
Yeah,
wow, I mean, this is amazing. No women were objectified or harmed. Now let's
I didn't
talk.
say they weren't harmed.
Oh, okay,
There
right,
is
fair. Sorry.
there's harm.
They weren't murdered for the sake of the men storyline. Now
Yeah.
let's talk about the man storyline, the boys. Are you awarding them the point? Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yes.
I mean, how can you
Yes.
not?
I think Patrick Gibson is effervescent in the role.
And then the music, I mean, I know I would give it a point.
Have no fear. I think Lana Del Rey's First Light, plus a really impressive score, plus the way that music is used to energize you in the game, gets it the point.
Awesome. And what about the fashion, which I still have on my phone here? And I'm like, my God, I will one day.
I can afford $300 for a pair of swim shorts, right?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, surely. Yeah.
They're such cute swim shorts. Yes, when you can buy the outfits, and I'm actually looking at the website, thinking, "Oh, that paisley shirt's gorgeous." Actually, I
But
could,
this
and I'm honestly playing.
7 Martini. Oh, you can't see this. I hope you flash on the screen here. The 007 Dr. No mid-length swim short, 295 pounds from Orlebar Brown. Oh my God.
So good.
So
And
good.
even playing the game when we saw him in the paisley shirt, before I knew it was an All About Brown shirt, I was like, "Oh, that's a cute shirt. I'd wear that shirt." So yes, it gets the fashion point.
Great. And then the queerness.
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. So that's a gay score of 4, a base score of 4. Does the game get a penalty for anything that you thought particularly? No.
I think the makers of this game showed sensitivity, were conscious of where Bond falls down, and were careful to avoid it.
Awesome. And that gives me hope for the possible Amazon film. that Bond still like can exist in our world.
Yeah. Yeah, if only Amazon were to make a film,
Yeah, that sounds nice.
that would be great.
Yeah, yeah. Well, anyway, that gives us a KKBB score of 8 out of 10. That's remarkable. That is pretty high on our list of
It is
things that
high.
we've rated. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to get this game and finish this game.
you're gonna have to play through all the stuff that you've already played through all over again.
That sounds fine. I spent about 45 minutes just like touching things in Q's lab.
It's true, you did. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that was fun for everyone to watch.
And I'm thinking, we could have got to some of the action, but
No,
no,
I
he
needed
really
to
wants to
find
touch things in
batteries.
Q's lab.
Yeah.
Yeah, this just became a game of finding batteries. Well, whatever you can take from it, that's your joy.
Well, if you enjoyed this video and want to see others like it, this is the first video game we've done in quite a long time, but
Yeah.
we've talked a lot about James Bond in the past. Please click the like button, subscribe to this channel, and as always, thank you for watching. Kiss kiss!
Bang, bang.
If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe to this channel. You can follow Kiss Kiss Bang Bang on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd at KKBBpod, or email us at kisskissbangbangpod@gmail.com.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is recorded in Toronto on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples.